Joseph Lancia. About 4 years ago, Joseph Lancia ascended to the top position of the Rhode Island chapter of the Hells Angels biker gang. Placed in handcuffs, he was led from a Providence Superior Courtroom to begin serving a 5-year prison sentence. Lancia, 30, of Smithfield, pleaded no contest to the charge of felony assault and battery, as well as carrying a gun without a license. The more serious charges of discharging a firearm when committing a crime of violence and assault with intent to commit murder were dismissed as part of the deal. Judge Kristen Rogers asked Lancia if he had anything to say before making the punishment official. "Nothing," he replied. Lancia will be placed on 10 years of probation when he gets out of the adult correctional institution in Cranston. The main case against Lancia stems from a June 2019 incident when police said he fired a gun at a truck driven by Richard Starnino, once a prospect to join the biker club, who was involved in an ongoing dispute with Lancia. Investigators said video surveillance shows Lancia shooting at the truck as Starnino was driving by the Hells Angels Providence headquarters on Messer Street. The video, which was the main evidence against Lancia, was from the clubhouse's own security system. The investigation into the shooting led to a dramatic daytime raid by the RI State Police. Dozens of full-patch members of the Hells Angels were in the courtroom for the sentencing, as Lancia's wrists were being placed in handcuffs. He nodded at fellow member and gave the group a smile. A sheriff then led him through a door to be ferried off to the ACI. Adam Lee Hall. Hall, who was a ranking member of the local Hells Angels group, Hall and his two accomplices, David Chalou and Caius Viovis, were all convicted of first-degree murder in 2014. The victims, David Glazer, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell, were shot at Glazer's Pitfield home. Their bodies were dismembered, placed in plastic bags, transported in Hall's Buick to rural Beckett, and buried in a ditch. The victims were last seen alive the evening of August 27, 2011. Authorities discovered the mutilated remains 13 days later. Two of Hall's co-defendants testified he masterminded the killings. Another man charged as an accessory said he helped dispose of the bodies because he was afraid of Hall. The Supreme Judicial Court upheld the 3 first-degree murder convictions of Adam Lee Hall and rejected his request for a new trial. But the court also ruled Hall is not guilty of kidnapping one of the victims a year before the killings, calling the murders of 3 Pittsfield men filled with depravity and without human dignity. A Hamden Superior Court judge sentenced Adam Lee Hall to 3 consecutive life sentences. Judge C. Jeffrey Kinder said the crimes were unlike anything he had previously encountered in his career as a judge. Kinder said Hall preyed on the disabled. 2 of the victims, David Glazer and Edward Frampton, had mental or developmental issues and surrounded himself with young women he was able to manipulate into doing his bidding. David Chalou. David Chalou, the second man found guilty in the gruesome murders of 3 Pittsfield men in August 2011, has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. A Hamden Superior Court jury convicted 47-year-old David Chalou of North Adams on all 9 counts. 3 counts each of murder, witness intimidation, and kidnapping. The verdict appeared to be reached, but when the 12 jurors were individually polled, one woman said she had not come to that decision. Chalou was one of 3 men charged with kidnapping and killing David Glazer, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell. The men disappeared from a Pittsfield home in August 2011. Their dismembered bodies were discovered 2 weeks later in Beckett. Chalou had pleaded not guilty. Chalou's attorney, Donald Frank, filed motions to keep testimonies of so-called jailhouse informants from being used as evidence. The informants alleged Chalou admitted to the killings and detailed the crimes. Hall and Chalou were both tried in Hamden Superior Court in Springfield because of pre-trial publicity in Berkshire County. Chalou's attorney had asked to move the trial farther east after Hall's conviction. 3 Hells Angels. 2 members of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club in Sonoma County have been convicted in federal court of murder in aid of racketeering, along with a 3rd angel from Fresno. Jonathan Nelson, aka John, 46, of Santa Rosa, Russell Taylor Ott, aka Rusty, 69, also of Santa Rosa, and Brian Wayne Went, 45, of Tulare, were found to have killed one of their own members and have taken part in conspiracy to commit murder. The Sonoma County Hells Angels Club formed in 1972 and makes some of its income from selling shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and other swag bearing the club's logo. They have also sponsored toy drives for children. 11 members of the Hells Angels were indicted in 2017 for conspiracy, which the DOJ said involved murder, drug dealing, assault, robbery, extortion, illegal possession of firearms, and obstruction of justice. Nelson, Ott, and Wentz were all part of that sweep and have been convicted of killing Joel Silva, a member whom they determined had been creating problems for the motorcycle club. Nelson arranged for Silva's murder with Ott. The deed went down in Fresno on July 15, 2014, when Ott drove Silva there on the pretense of his needing to fight with the Fresno chapter's president, Wentz, in order to resolve his problems with the club. Upon arrival, Wentz shot Silva in the head. The next day, Silva's body was incinerated at a local crematorium. The trial brought out other information about the Hells Angels Club in Sonoma. Witnesses testified that there was a pattern of threatening anyone who approached the police about the motorcycle gang's activities. Those who might testify or serve as witness, as well as their families, were told in no uncertain terms that harm would come to them. All 3 defendants are facing a mandatory life sentence in prison. Maurice Boucher. Ex-Hells Angels chief Maurice "Mom" Boucher has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to conspiring to kill a former rival, high-ranking mafia member Reynald Desjardins. Boucher conspired with 2 accomplices to have Desjardins assassinated at the Sante Ana des Plaines Penitentiary in 2015. Boucher's plan never came to fruition, and he was arrested in his cell that year. Desjardins is already serving a sentence in Sante Ana des Plaines for his role in the death of mob boss Salvatore Montagna. Boucher's daughter, Alexandra Mongiu, 28, was also handed a 21-month sentence to be served in the community after pleading guilty to concealment of money she knew was obtained through the proceeds of a crime. Boucher is already serving a life sentence for the 1997 murders of 2 prison guards. The 10-year sentence will run concurrently. The sentence for the murder plot is the result of a joint submission by the Crown and Boucher's defense lawyer. When given a chance to address the court, Boucher declined, instead saying, "All is good." That was it for today's video. Before leaving, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.